Of course. Music that sounds like a machine, or music that expresses a human feeling. Does it matter? Does it matter in the quest for doing great breakthrough effective advertising and sales results that you actually plumb the depths and the colors of the human experience? Lizanne, what say you?
I say yes, definitely yes.
Great call. See you later. Oh, no, wait, wait. But it's really, really interesting because in our last couple of videos, especially the last one talking about archetypes, human archetypes, why? To understand humanity better. Why does it seem like fewer and fewer brands value this?
Well, I think the good brands, the really great brands, the ones you talk about, the ones you want to be working on, do value it actually. I think some of the big brands struggle when they become a little bit out of focus, and I worked on some of those. The plethora of new brands desperate to get out there, I think they've got something amazing, might overlook it. But if you're going to be successful, you're going to be profitable, you're going to be remembered in people's heads, and have great advertising, you have to think about how you're connecting to a person, basically, on an emotional level, particularly. And it's those emotional insights and understandings that the creatives need, like you, to make good advertising. And if the clients don't give them, then you're not going to get an awful lot back, I believe. So it's up to the client to get there and the ad agency to challenge if they haven't got something that's emotional and human,
You know,
deep.
I'm scrolling through Instagram at the moment, and there seems to be so much importance on what happens in the first second to stop someone. I, a ridiculously powerful, frantic urge to try and stop someone the first second. Ah, is that someone I want to see? Yes. Okay. Is that what's that? Oh, my goodness, it's a still image. Oh, a still image with no text and flashing things on it. Wow. And that instant retail. Just like the website you go to. I see this more and more and more. You go to a website for the first time. Maybe you know what it is, maybe you don't. And as soon as you start to scroll, pop, 50% off. I don't know who you are. I don't know what you have. I don't know if I like you, and you're giving me a discount already. Hmm.
And that's after you've allowed cookies.
Yeah.
That's so annoying, isn't it? Flipping cookies. Why are they not cookies? They're annoying things. Anyway, we need
Well,
them.
see, cookies, and I'm being American now, and if we go back to biscuits. If you go to a biscuits company site and you know what biscuits are, and there's a 50% off offer, maybe that's appropriate. Because do I want to read the biscuits mission statement and their purpose and their charity things and their when I just want to feel good and have a cup and which I don't have right now. Let's not talk about biscuits right now, please. I'm minutes away from being able to have any. So we're coming out with an argument, and it's a universal evergreen argument that we're human beings still, right? Yeah, human beings still. And if we're human beings and we're selling to human beings, why do we trust algorithms more than we trust our humanity?
Oh, deep question. Well, we have to sell on a human emotional level. Otherwise, we're just going to get bypassed, aren't we? So even if it's that first picture you talk about, it's got to do something that captures our imagination that might worry us. I don't like doing marketing that worries people. I'd rather do the positive. It might make us feel joyful. It might make us feel sad. And therefore, we might be wanting to get money for something. But whatever, it pulls at some sort of heartstring. And that is the creative talent, being able to raise an emotion that doesn't make it look like you're being directly sold to, because people hate being directly sold to. Don't want brands that are see-through. They want to feel like you genuinely mean it. And the benefit of many of the startups I've worked with, it does come from something in the heart. There's some sort of passion there. And that's where these little upstart challenger brands, differentiator, distinctive brands, whatever you want to call them, that's how they carve out the niche. Because the big brands that have been doing it for years have kind of lost a little bit of focus sometimes. And the small upstart brands can see something different. They come to market quickly, but more importantly, they really mean it. And they're passionate on LinkedIn, they're passionate on Facebook or Instagram. They've got causes behind them. You can see the connection, the links, and that's really what it's about. And then you want to follow the brand because either it's doing something good or it's telling you something interesting, it's informing, educating, entertaining, making you laugh, making you sad, making you feel better because the rescued animal has got been really bony, but now it's properly meaty. I don't know. Sorry, that's not a good description.
But see,
Pets.
animals, there was a
You know what I
good
mean?
jumping up point. I know in the future video we're going to be talking about animals more and more, but I just have such compassion for people. I'm always on the side of the people who are going to be subjected to the advertising more than I am for the client or anyone. And if you're trying to start a new business now, in the age of vroom, 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 and that's your chance to stop someone for that 1 minute, compare that to when you get to be of a certain age and you've gotten to know a brand through the world, the outside world, billboards and signs and stores and all the different things, even before television, without television, just you have a physical presence of a brand. Now, when they also have a presence on social media, you recognize them, you already like them, you're going to potentially look at it. But a first impression from a stranger on something going like that, I feel so sorry. I think the easiest thing to do still is to go out into the world and do something and be seen doing it and then tell someone you have an Instagram page rather than trying to start an Instagram brand out of nothing. I think
Yeah.
it's not impossible, but I just don't like the odds. I trust in the squishy, difficult, mysterious, confusing human aspect always. In fact, the more squishy and the more mystifying and confusing it is, the better. Because one of the things that I think is really missing is the nuance of the human experience, which can be expressed. In other words, a weakened human being, when they start to get discouraged, how do you communicate that like that? You can't. The only things that work for that are things that can be expressed that way. The hi, the, here I am. The here's my money. Hey, you want this? And we could be evolving. Absolutely true. But I'm really not sure how I would take someone who's starting out that way. You've got to have something physical in this physical world. And if you can make it human, which is why media, movie tie-ins and long-form videos and things like that really give a chance for an experience to stretch out.
Yeah, but I think there's always, in the good ideas, something. There's a story, isn't there? I know a lot of people talk about storytelling, and marketing isn't just about storytelling, but there's a reason you have launched a product. You're filling a gap, a need, you've noticed something, you're outraged about something, you think this category is really boring and you want to shake it up. There's some reason that you come to it, and that's what I try and unlock with my brands. And then I try and understand their point of view on the world. So, what values do they hold? What do they believe in? What do they detest? What types of things do they think are really important at the minute? Where are they wanting to go in the future? And vision and missions and all those overused words, whatever you want to call it, if you were to leave legacy, so your brand dies, get completely wiped out in a nuclear war or global warming, what are you going to have on your gravestone? This is the brand that did this. What good have you done for the world? How have you
Did
changed
you
people's
see
thinking?
our 15% offer when you first went to our site?
Yeah, that type of thing. That really engages people, doesn't it?
Well, so the old joke, it's like I'm a famous writer. You've seen my work. Have you seen it? Buy one get one free. I wrote that. Ooh, yeah. So in other words, if you're thinking up in the clouds and you're thinking theoretical and philosophy and archaeology and real-time anthropology and archetypes, all these juicy things, eventually the rubber has to meet the road, and you've got to do an ad. You've got to tell the world about this, distill it down to something that's digestible and human. Well, maybe right before that, there's a division. You can say, figure out the human aspect and then somehow find a way to bring that to the world. Or maybe an opportunity is right here where the flesh meets the alien technology. There's something in that human experience that your brand can solve right there and then. If that's where you're going to end up anyway, why not think about what changes that?
Well, that's interesting. I mean, traditionally, I would have said that's putting the cart before the horse because you're thinking about your marketing channel rather than your actual brand offering. That's not strategy, is it? But it is a good point, and actually, that might be a way you differentiate because you choose to interact with people in a completely different way than other brands. Whatever, it's about being distinctive in some way, isn't it? Just memorable and importantly, actually being important, being valued. Like, why should your brand exist? Why does it deserve to be there? Why should you buy that brand over another? How are you actually really changing anything?
Right, right. See, the thing is, when we're talking about it in the ether, it's an alchemical process. You have to take something invisible and make it visible, transform something. And if you were the battle of the shelf space, soap, 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 which name, which design, which use of the space appeals to me, right? Gives me those cues of what I want soap to be. If someone has a shiny white clean box with a little silver sparkle and a little ding, oh, everything's spick and span. I'm antiseptic relationship with soap. Or something is made out of pulp paper and it has earth colors and it's down, it stands out that way. This is something that doesn't have chemicals in it. That's what I want. Well, that's very interesting when you can have all your products next to all your competitors. The need to differentiate is so much more visceral. But you see, the problem is when you're going through here, you're not next to your competitor. Not
Mhm.
that way. Every life coach who's on Instagram right now, if they had to have theirs right after every other life coach, it would be like that thing on the shelf where you would see which ones stood out. But now we have to stand out against news,
Mhm.
sex, sport, activity, nature, all in this mishmash. Like if you and the thing is, no one would make money if there was an Instagram for people who followed rainforest apes. It has to be something that has to exist where everything else exists. And when you have to stand out without any context of a category or even a product or a person, although someone say, yes, we do, you saw that because we targeted you. Yeah, you may have targeted me, but you are still in a medium where you and your targeted message is against personal things from my friends, most beautiful woman I follow on social media, whatever. All that's all mixed in there. And what my team just did last night. It's really challenging.
Yeah, but you're kind of getting to executional level now of cut through, aren't you? Like what makes something stand out?
How do
Whereas
you
I,
express that thing that we've been thinking about all these months, right? How do we? Doesn't matter until it's expressed and people react with it. It's the aha and the et voila. It's the et
hmm.
voila that's. Ooh.
But then if you get to the really good pieces of advertising, the things that you remember, the things that get passed around, go viral, are word of mouth, then it's not about standing out against everything else, is it? It's something that will get shared because it's just really interesting or funny or entertaining. And and that's kind of, I guess, coming back to what makes for good advertising. It's that engaging that it's not about how do I compete with my competitors. Forget them. What are you saying that's interesting? If it's interesting enough and it's executed well enough, and that's where you come in as
Yeah,
the
and
ad
what's
agent.
got to happen before all that is a decision to know who you are
Oh, absolutely.
and decide to be consistent.
Is why I say I like my little boxes, whatever they are. Don't have to focus on my ones, but I have set things. I want to know not just your unique selling point or benefit. I want to know your emotional benefits because if you don't have any, you're probably stuffed. I want to know what your values are, what your personality is, what your tone of voice is. If I opened a room which had your brand name on it, a door, what's inside? What can I feel, hear, see? How do I feel coming out of it? What colours are there? What textures are there? I want to know all of this because I
Absolutely,
want to
yes. But
understand.
the problem I think we're dealing with is there's enough people thinking like exactly what you're saying, but I don't see it.
Yeah, but where does the problem lie? Where does it get missed? Because if I've got a unique selling point, a really good emotional benefit, I've tested it with consumers because some people do research.
Mhm.
Um, the creative believes in it. Where's it gone wrong?
Well, you see, in every company it's a little different, but the fact is, whatever beautiful, innovative thinking is happening in the strategic and the consumer insight stage, it so often gets either blanded out, rounded off, hidden, destroyed, or complicated by the time it gets put out there where people actually have to deal with it. In other words, you've seen that video if Microsoft had designed the iPod box.
I
Right,
haven't seen it, no, but I can imagine it. Yeah.
right. See, exactly. So the thing is, you can have all the right stuff, but if it doesn't come out something so simple and digestible, digestibility is everything. If what you're all about is not digestible and human, no one, someone might say, I understand it, but I'm not going to eat it. And if I do eat it, how does it smell? How does it taste? How does it make me feel? That's all got to be there, and it's got to
Hmm.
come from the right foundation. The value of human study is that if you've got the right people who can communicate it that way to the world, you've got the good stuff in it already.
Yeah,
Ah!
that's true. Guess what though? Research, test for those things. Engagement, emotional involvement, message. Do they get it? I won't rant on about that yet. Another time.
You know, this is a good note. This is a good note, but not. Yeah, we made all our points. It's all in there. Why isn't anyone clicking on it? I don't understand. Actually, I do understand. That's the problem. Until next time, it's Paul.
Lizanne.
Better ads, please.